Good morning and welcome to the Capitalgang. A little bit late. Emmanuel Dombo, I think I may need your escort, especially around these traffic lights here. So start organizing that one for me now that you're in power.
But Dombo comes here on top of a police patrol.
This is what I'm talking about as well.
He must have lived in a village and
he only uses it on Saturdays.
Many trucks.
Absolutely. When I'm coming here for Capitalgang.
Yes. So you're most welcome to Gang. Honorable Dombo, Honorable Semuju, welcome to Gang. You're going to congratulate Ofonopondo.
I have already Capitalgang, yes.
On air.
Yeah.
Hey. Professor, one of my favorite professors, Dr. Yusuf Serunkuma, you are also going to congratulate Ofonopondo on the Capitalgang. Use the microphone. Use the microphone.
It is his chance to eat.
It is his chance to eat. Duncan Abigawa, you're most welcome. You're going to congratulate Ofonopondo.
Yeah, thank you, Oscar.
Yes.
Like the Kenyans say, it is always turn to eat.
Yeah, not all the Kenyans. But I was telling Honorable Semuju that you have experienced loss. So you know the loss, and Semuju said, no, you are not even there at the losing table.
Yeah, but you saw those who reached the losing table.
Yeah.
You had Dr. Baryomunsi crying in the middle of the night to His Excellency the President.
Yeah.
You had Captain Mike Mukura and others.
Yeah.
So I think it was better to run at first than towards the end.
Yeah. Yusuf Serunkuma,
To run or to be bought out early.
Yusuf, I should also tell you, today I was not supposed to be. I would have been in Europe, but I've experienced a loss. No visa, no passport. This is to the Netherlands. So I really feel it, you know, when you're rejected, and you have already spent money, and these people are not considerate. You know, those Europeans like to say, my feelings and everything. Eh?
In the year 2023,
Yeah.
those Europeans made 153 million euros from rejected visas.
From rejected visas.
So they're a bunch of thieves, but they make it look like
I don't know if I can call them that, but
they're thieves.
for 3 months they've known that I'm going to go away. For 3 months.
They are thieves. They
that I
made
needed this weekend.
153 million euros from rejected visas.
Wow.
That is theft.
I want to write to the ambassador. So will you give me the research, all that research?
To complain.
Pardon? At least they will know that.
You mean they didn't know?
They didn't, because
The ambassador must be aware of what is happening.
yeah, because when you apply 3 months ahead, it means you have spent 3 months ahead and everything. So I know the feeling of loss, Duncan.
I met policemen at this office processing Canadian visas.
Yeah.
And they told me in their estimate, for every 1,000, I think 2 will be successful. So the policemen were also...
You know, Rotary International,
the money.
this year Rotary went to Canada, and many people didn't apply because of that statistics. Because the Canadian visa, you are like going to heaven.
I don't know why.
Go to the microphone.
I don't know why that is even a debate. Visas are sources of income. And
Visas are sources of income.
Of income is a trade.
Not application, but visa.
And I'm saying application, the visa process. It's only that they don't want to admit that it is trade, it is a source of income. Secondly, it's like the churches. Did you know that the Catholic Church...
can spoil good arguments.
No. These things the same to go for to Mecca every year and how many times? Do you know that is a business? That's why you are being told that God is in Saudi Arabia.
No, ours.
Can spoil a good debate. So why don't we make that money?
Why is God in the Vatican?
Oscar,
because why is the visas are for free?
Why
in fact, they will put there free visa.
No, but when you go there, you spend. But that's what you don't know.
Some you do in Europe. Oscar, I need to add the detail.
Why is your God in Saudi Arabia, not in Uganda?
Understand how economies.
In fact, let me switch off my
Understand how economies work. Saudi Arabia,
but Oscar,
Saudi Arabia earns $1 billion every day from oil sales. The whole economy of pilgrimage is 19 billion.
I was actually...
Are you saying when you have money, you don't need more?
I was actually also planning...
The lake and the ocean.
Oscar.
Yes. Go on.
Oscar, I just want to add that you see the disrespect Mzungu gave us is because our leadership has brought us this sort of ignominy. So for the last 40 years, we are still going to Europe to beg. They look at us, they come here, they get free things. We've been disrespected as Ugandans because of the way we are governed also. You see, I've spoken to Mzungu businessmen who come here, and they can't imagine how we are led by the amount of crime they can get away with in our own country. I'm telling you, they're also shocked that they can get away with things which they couldn't hitherto get away from.
I had planned a bus ride to Rome as well. So when OO enters religious things, I was going to take a bus ride, pay for that one, going to those basilicas and so on. So yes,
Oscar,
when you get there, you spend money.
Oscar.
Yes, Emmanuel.
To me, one of the things could be Honorable Semju will help us when they get to Parliament.
Even OO.
Because what is, do we have...
They have to be elected.
Do we have a right to reciprocate?
You as Uganda.
Yeah, Uganda as a country.
With the amount of ignominy you brought onto yourselves. You see, when Mzungu talk about to poorly governed country, they say, this is not Uganda. I mean, there's a small thing which is badly led called Uganda, which means even the people there, they deserve no respect.
If the whole of Africa came together and they got organized,
with leaders like himself,
those people would really want us more.
Let the man make a good point.
When you go, ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs and ask. When I was a member of Parliament and on the Public Accounts Committee, one of the areas that was most abused was the visa collections at our embassies. It was a lot of money.
Oh.
By the accountants at the embassies.
For Uganda?
For Uganda. Until it was streamlined that it's now credited directly to the consolidated fund. Previously, it was collected and spent on site. Even ministers who would get here their allowances, whenever they travel to the embassies, they would go and use the money that is used for collection and from the collection of visas. That was big money.
Anyway.
I don't know of any country where people line up for Ugandan visas. I don't know Dom.
I don't know that either.
But Ugandans in their hundreds line up at all the embassies here.
Not just here. They drive into Nairobi.
Yeah, actually. Some of the European ones, you go to Poland, Nairobi, yes. Finland. Yusuf, you have promised to give me some information, and listeners can give me information, and I will write a letter at least.
Have you guys spoken about the South African visa?
Also, I'm told we have to go.
And that one, the reason it's a problem of our leaders. So Kenya, for example, doesn't require a visa to go to where? To South Africa. The Kenyans.
They don't?
No, they don't. But here...
Hold on, let me first apologize to the listeners. They are hearing samosa being chewed. You know...
Okay.
After 3 months
and Dombo are here. They have not had a meal in a while.
After 3 months of campaigning elections, in 2 minutes, Opono has finished 10 pancakes.
Last night, Dombo...
I actually thought he was picking them for redistribution. Swallowing one at a time.
Last night I had a chat with Dombo, and he said he has been so stressed he's looking forward to samosa.
Yeah,
so don't be surprised.
But you can't eat 5 in 1 minute. Dombo.
But he has done it.
Then we need an ambulance to evacuate him. Because I saw his hand full.
Welcome to Gang, Agatha, Atuhaire.
Thank you.
And it is true, I'm going to South Africa in October.
Oscar, just a second. You see, we need to understand the visa, Euro, US, before we even complain. Musengu Zigaruga, one of the people with a lot of money, he wanted to go to UK for treatment in his last days.
Which he could afford.
And they know. But they didn't deny him the visa. He went to the deputy speaker, went to Hakana Rugunda. They issued the visa when now he was not in a
good condition to
fly. So it's not just money for them. I remember last year, even delegations from Parliament were denied visas to go to Dubai. Official delegations with the government, with the foreign affairs.
Dubai is difficult. Some of our teachers have not gotten their visa. But maybe the Dutch people are annoyed with what you were saying about them, you and MK. The Dutch people, maybe they are annoyed.
But usually those ones are very strict. Because one time I went for a Commonwealth conference in Vienna, and they gave me a visa of 2 days.
That was only time to arrive.
Yes.
Anyway.
On arrival, I was supposed to stay in that country for 2 days.
Oh, this is the time you were allowed to spend in
This was Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I was invited and sponsored. But the meeting was for 2 days.
Agatha was telling us about South Africa. Yes.
How disrespected we are.
No, I think for me it goes back to what Honorable Dombo said about reciprocity.
Yeah.
We don't have governments that plead our case, because that's why Kenyans go to South Africa without any visa. But here, do you know who goes to South Africa without a visa? The politicians. The leaders only negotiated
Because
negotiated for themselves.
I remember there was a negotiation. Right.
Last year, Uganda and South Africa signed an MOU for visa reciprocity. It was supposed to have started this year, April. They set up a working committee. I think the problem could be on our side, because they set up and it was supposed to have started.
Of course,
in
it's
April.
on your side. That's what we are saying.
So there is a process going on.
It is going on?
Yeah, there's in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Oh, you think it is going on?
No. I know so, because I traveled with the President of South Africa at that summit. They signed that MOU to fast track. So I don't know why it hasn't commenced, because it was supposed to have started in April.
I actually know it is going on.
Yeah.
It has just gone on for so long,
Yeah.
and that's why everyone was shocked. We were supposed to have an African meeting there last year. Everyone was shocked at how many Ugandans were denied visas, because so many. In fact, that meeting was there was, I think, 2 Ugandans there, and these people were wondering. But for us, we just came. Everyone just goes to South Africa, because there had been those discussions with governments, but our government is, not bothered.
Let her first finish that one.
No,
finish the last sentence.
I think for me the last sentence was what. When you go now to the Europeans or the Americans, it's still the disrespect comes from how our governments really negotiate for us. I was at the VSF place here, which I think deals with the visas for the UK and whatever,
and the Netherlands,
and there was and Germany, and there was an old man in his late 60s also who wanted to go to the UK for the graduation of his daughter that he paid fees for. It wasn't that the daughter even got there on any scholarship. They had denied it so many times. He saw me. He was so frustrated. He said, why don't you talk about this? I am 68, for God's sake. Why do I want to go and stay in the UK? I paid fees for my child there. If I can afford to pay fees in a university there, why? So at the end of the day, it's that when you see a list of requirements for visas to go to America from Ugandans, and then you see the list of requirements for them to come here, it is one. For them, it's just one, paying for a visa on arrival. 50, is it?
Yes, 50.
So for us, you need an employment contract, you need a whatever, you need a land title, you need, oh my God. And it comes from a government that really, we have leaders that are so insecure, they don't think they are worthy of having these discussions, marital, exactly. And then, but also they don't care about us. That's where the South African problem comes
that's
from.
That's a bigger statement.
They're
because
not
as I told you, they knew for 3 months where I was going. Anyway.
What Agatha is also not saying is that Agatha and group are also making a contribution towards some of these, the hostility, because amongst the other things, with in their engagements with these foreign governments, especially European governments, is that they continue to press for sanctions, some of which include denial of visas against leaders and so forth, because of governance, because of rule of law, because of human rights, etc. Agatha will not admit this, but these conversations happen.
But also, so this guy wants me to admit to a ridiculous statement like that.
And Yusuf spends quite a lot of time in Germany. So,
but Oscar, are the leaders that we have supposedly asked to be sanctioned, are they the ones being denied visas?
No.
We are talking about Garuga Msinguzi. So who went and said Garuga Msinguzi should be denied a visa? That's ridiculous. I cannot even believe that. We are saying the sanctions that have happened have been economic sanctions on corrupt people, on whatever. There is nothing that has got to do with the visa of someone saying, I want to go and attend a graduation of a child I've sponsored in a university there. There's nothing it has to do with someone who is ill and can take care of themselves in a hospital.
I agree with you fully, and I'll tell you when I apply for the South African visa, because I have a Africa Impact Forum at the beginning of October. Duncan Abigaba, OO is here. Dombo Lumala is here, so you can be Duncan Abigaba. Please. Last week people were going to murder you because he was the form of OO and the form of Dombo, and he couldn't fit. So having witnessed, I don't know if you went to Kola as well, Duncan?
No, I did not, but I was closely following the proceedings.
Yes.
I was on the task force of one of the candidates, New Energy.
Which one?
Mr. Calvin David Ochodu, who won with 99.5%.
Do you remember when I asked him here, because he did not seem like he can throw a punch?
Is that the guy who came here?
He's the one.
Yes. That's the one who went through.
Yes, he defeated the Captain Michael Mukora, but no,
so he couldn't say anything.
He couldn't say much. He was gentle. But I was really worried about him. Abigail, I was really worried about him because I remember I asked him. I said, "Are you going to? You're the party you are going for."
No. Echodo represents what he has termed New Energy, similar to some of the ideas I had before about reforms, about revival, reshaping the NRM. His message resonated with what most of the delegates wanted to hear across the country.
Hold on, let me stop you for New Energy. He's not young.
He's not young, but the ideas are fresh. Yes.
Duncan.
When he came here, he couldn't talk. Each question was saying yes or no.
Okay.
I don't know how he even spoke to the delegates.
I think this was not the best forum for him.
Yeah.
Yes, because probably is not a debater.
He just couldn't communicate.
Probably is not a debater, but he's a leader. Because he has made a contribution. Yeah, might know. He has made a lot of contribution in Teso where he comes from. He runs a big organization there called Program Africa that is in education and health and so forth. He's made a lot of contribution in Teso. This is what he rode on to win the seat.
Okay, so let's look at the ones who lost and those that were surprised about losing. The one where you wished to stand against Dr. Barrio Musi, he didn't win anyway, and he had a long speech addressing the president about the money, the rigging, everything.
We should congratulate my senior brother here, Dombo. First, on holding a very successful delegates conference. There was no an incident. So then two, we congratulate, of course, the NRM. They have elected a very new SEC, except number one, the party chairman and the first vice chairperson. The rest of the members are very new. We believe they are coming with the fresh ideas. They are coming with fresh ideas. Yes, to come to your issue now of those who lost and so forth, we agree that there were challenges. And I think this time round, the biggest challenge was money. A few days to the conference, Captain Mike Mukura held the press conference. He was decrying of money. You had the others, everybody was complaining about money. If you sample, for example, the issue of the youth election, which never took place, because after the voting for the chairman of the youth league, the chairperson of the youth league, there was some bit of a misunderstanding, and the election was suspended. I think they have to organize it as soon as possible because they must have flag bearers for the youth MPs as per the National Electoral Commission calendar. Take an example of that youth election. I think for the first time, you had youth candidates who were able to give up to a magnitude of 500,000 shillings to every delegate. I don't think this is a sustainable venture for the NRM. Dombo and OO, we must internally really address the issue of money. And I think the issue of money for me, it comes from, yes, the president says NRM welcomes everybody, NRM is for all. But can we have some bit of a vetting mechanism of who runs, especially for top leadership? You invited the CCM to attend the delegates conference and other Africa liberation parties where the NRM is modeled. Most of them you cannot join a party today and tomorrow you're running for the top position. You must go through the ranks. Vetting versus money. We have opened up the process. We are running money launderers. We are allowing pirates. We are allowing everybody to run. And this is not sustainable because I do not think the general membership of the NRM has confidence in most of the leaders who are elected, because most of them were elected on the account of money. So in the event that something happened to the top party leadership, I do not think other leaders, for example, in the Central Executive Committee, would carry this party forward because they do not have trust and confidence of the majority of the members of NRM. So ideology, the issue of money.
But no ideology, just commercialized money.
Yeah, most of the people who won in these tech positions, they have not held positions in the NRM. As per the rules that Honorable Dombo here knows very well, there is the issue of you must have served in the party for 10 years. You must have visible contribution in the party for 10 years. Some people have not had that contribution. Some people have not been in the party for those 10 years. Yes, so you can see that honestly, some people, it is not about ideology, but it is some sort of a quidocracy, give me, I give you.
Right, Honorable Dombo. I did not know the 10 years that Abigaba has cited, but I first heard former Speaker, Deputy Prime Minister Kadaga, saying that the regulations that someone has been here 3 years and now everyone is promoting her. I heard that very clearly. So you as the leader of this election, why didn't you pay attention to that?
I've just learned a new word from my brother here, quidocracy. We need something that we need to
from Kololo.
That one was manufactured in Kololo. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the leaders that were elected at Kololo, who are now members of the Central Executive Committee. I'm appointed by the Central Executive Committee, and those are my new bosses. I congratulate them. And I believe now that has been noted that some of them have not had an in-depth understanding of how NRM works. I believe that the national chairman and his vice and the other senior leaders are going to take their brothers and sisters through the process for them to understand. It may not be a Chankwanz, it may be a retreat, it may be whatever forum, for them to appreciate. But they also are mature people. They are going to read and they keep to the task so that they can lead us well. Right Honorable Kadaga did raise that issue when we were in Entebbe for the NEC meeting. And when the lawyer was asked,
which lawyer?
The director legal was asked about whether the rules had been modified, along the way, because the president was very particular. He did not want to do anything that vitiates the rules or that compromises the rules, or having different rules for different scenarios just to advantage others. The director legal came and said that during the nomination papers, everybody was required to enumerate what they have done for NRM in the past 10 years. And in the past 10 years, if you had only made a contribution for 3 years, Well and good. It was said, what have you? What contribution? It was a requirement for the nomination papers. But was not that during the vetting process, somebody is going to be vetted on the account that somebody has stayed in the party longer or party for a shorter time. But even when you look at the positions in parliament, these are deployments by the party. They are leadership positions. Look at the speaker. The speaker is a leadership position. Jacob Olanya, when he came in, was a very brilliant person, and everybody would be willing and proud to associate and work with such a person. Even when he had been in NRM for a very short time, the party deployed him as a deputy speaker, and he excelled. Even when he was a chairperson, actually he started as a chairperson of a committee in parliament, and he worked so well. So there is no requirement that in order to qualify for SEC positions, you must have been in a party or done something for 10 years. There is no rule, regulation like that. But on the nomination papers, they were asked for every candidate who went pick papers that what have you done in the last.
In fact, that in the nomination papers is ultra bias. It's not in our constitution. It's just that people are enthusiastic. They did not see it.
Yeah.
They should have challenged it.
It is not required.
It is not in the constitution.
But it is there.
I'm saying it is not in the constitution, but somebody brought it in the regulation, and I'm saying it should have been challenged.
So go on.
So for us, the only thing I have observed about these elections, and I want people to know, is that those who have been asking for a transition, if they can't see with their eyes that the transition is happening, then some people must be blind, because the young people coming from behind us, they are determined to take up their position in society and provide and make a contribution.
Sorry, Oscar, is that the transition Dombo wanted when he was forming PAFO?
No, the transition is defined first of all by the framework of the law, the constitution. That there will be democracy, there will be elections. Who gets elected now? That's where the transition happens. Because whereas other people are complaining here about General Moses Ali, why the people of Ajumani preferred the person who didn't even go to talk to them and they elected him. But the majority of Ugandans, even at the apex of the national resistance movement, have demonstrated that young people are eager to come in and make a contribution. Time will come. Many people here, especially in the opposition, whenever they talk about transition, they look at the apex, President Museveni's position. It's a question of time. It's a question of time, because you can only postpone it, but this is what is happening. When I looked at, I felt sorry for some of my friends, because some of them had been with them in the parliament. But for instance, my brother Chris Bariomunsi, he lost these elections. He had only been in SEC for one term.
2 terms.
Bariomunsi.
Yes. You know, in COVID, we extended the term of SEC members during COVID.
So he was there illegally, one term legally, one
No. The Bariomusis were elected
During COVID.
No, they were supposed to renew their.
It was 16.
For vice chairpersons, they voted. They didn't vote.
They voted. So I thought that he was still energetic, and he would use his vintage position as minister in charge of national guidance to continue providing. But the voters thought otherwise. Although Dr. Chris Bariomunsi himself, when he talked and addressed the president and the delegates, he raised some issues and which are subject to the evaluation by the tribunal if he chooses to go there, and whether the tribunal will sit to consider them. But I want to tell you that, to me, what I saw in Kololo, not only in Kololo, when we invited as a build-up to the national conference, we invited the national chairman. I mean the chairpersons of districts for NRM. The chairperson of my district is a student at university in Butaleja, at UCU. He was elected as chairman of Butaleja NRM, and I did raise it. Out of the about 160 chairpersons who had been invited, I could hardly identify a person. The faces I used to see in the previous years. And I realized it. I did even raise it. I said, you people, those who are talking about the transition, this is the transition happening. Now, the same thing has happened at the Central Executive Committee level. Whether we like it or we don't like it, the young people are taking their position in society.
To an old person.
We wish them well.
We go to an old person now, Fono Kondo. Congratulations on winning the party vote.
Is that congratulations sincere?
Very much sincere. You know how I've supported you. You know how I've supported you.
I know you support me. You gave me enough fuel. I hope in the next cycle you will double or triple. Now,
you must now begin returning the fuel.
My win, I must say.
Oscar funded the election?
No. He made a contribution.
I made a verbal contribution. Yes. I supported him.
No.
Money is not allowed in elections. No. Please continue.
I say my win was sensational, I should say. Yes. Yeah. And I want to agree with the Honorable Semojo. Parliament, sake, and I pity Abigaba. If you say maybe it's not a debater, so how is he going to articulate the issues in a sake of 32 people if he's not a debater?
No, the guy was here. He couldn't communicate. So just normal communication.
I think he's a debater. I think he talks.
What did he say?
But maybe he doesn't talk the way Semojo and Ofono talk.
He did not talk at all.
I've received a message here that he runs a large charity organization in Teso, which is very good. But I was here. Semojo was here. Dombo was here. I really asked him, "Are you going to manage NRM thing?" Because NRM now you have. Presented the figure of NRM where you have to be combative all the time.
But you remember the late Kidu Makobuya, a lawyer, but he would talk measured, and his answers were usually yes or no.
The reason he was sacked.
In fact, he said even a no is a response. So
rare cases.
Sake. It's not just sake where we are using a lot of money. Even parliamentary candidates, both in NRM and other parties, they use money, except that probably they don't do open display. In the NRM, I think there's a sense of impunity that people use money, and partly our failure. NRM constitution will have, we're supposed to have ethics commission. All the elections, just for a reminder, you remember 2 elections now, the president has said his campaign money was stolen, and he said he was going to institute an investigation. I have not seen the report of that investigation, if a committee was instituted twice now, including 2016 when we were in Ngoma. Now, if people are given campaign money and they misuse it, they start building houses, including at night. People on the campaign task forces, they put floodlights, and they do construction. I think we have let ourselves down. We have not punished those people. Now, and so it has encouraged impunity of money.
It started in the primaries as well, NRM and district primaries.
Yeah. So it has crept in that people who do those things are not made a good example by way of punishment and even disqualification. Like in this particular case, I've said here before, I said SEC made to vet candidates at a time when there was abundant information that one candidate had taken away delegates to foreign countries. In my view, if I had been in SEC, I would have tabled that candidate be disqualified. But for some reason, SEC didn't. Now, and you can see the Entrepreneur League reached a stalemate. They couldn't vote. Yes. So we should have done that to disqualify that candidate. He can go to court and challenge his disqualification. The process would have gone without him. But I think we would have sent a clear message. Now, the colleagues who have lost, yes, there are NRM processes are generally transparent. But in that transparency, you cannot avoid mischief. Mischief of violence, mischief of fraud, because you ask yourself, if it is, we have a register this electoral college, we have a register. How do non-delegates, how did they first of all access the place? I don't have the facts that Honorable Mukula and Baryomunsi have. But even they used the money. You remember, and my colleague, my senior colleague, Honorable Mukula, you remember he said he's going to switch on, and he tried using that yellow helicopter. I met Honorable Mukula in the frontline show of the previous Thursday, and I could see his distress. He was disappointed that all these things were happening, but he has been a member of SEC. How didn't they raise this in SEC? Probably they raised, and we are not privy to what they raised. Because I think if they had dealt with it, say, the three SEC meetings in the run-up to the election, they could have forestalled some of the mischief. They didn't.
Even at parliamentary level.
Yes. You remember Honorable Baryomunsi, Kiwanda, and Lide Wanyoto, when they went to campaign in Bugembe, for them they had a joint campaign. They had joint campaign meetings. In my view, I think they did not see that the mistakes or weaknesses of one of them would pile on all of them. In that Bugembe stadium, they told them they don't want to listen to them. You have been SEC members for these years, you had never come back. So I think there's a sense in which NRM delegates saw that some of these people had overstayed their welcome. And so they sought to go for the fresh faces, whether they have experience in NRM in leadership or not. I also want to disabuse. There is no provision in the NRM constitution which says to access leadership, you should have served it for 10 years. Otherwise, when we wrote the NRM constitution in 2004, how many of those people had 10 years of contribution in NRM? So we couldn't have put that. And we agreed in that constitution that as long as somebody says, I am NRM, you take them at face value. That's actually why somebody tried to bring, at that time, in the debate to make our constitution, people even brought the issue of vetting. And I remember it was the president who said, the president and the late Sibambi, they said, no, if you put vetting in African politics where there's mischief, just imagine if you put a Fono and Dombo to vet Semuju. If they know Semuju is stronger, they'll find a reason to knock him out. And we rejected that. I think this is coming up because people who have been there and have not done much to the voters, they have not done much to the NRM, they have not done much to the electorate, are using it because they see this pressure. How come they did not raise it against Olanya? How come they haven't raised it against Right Honorable Tayebwa? As everybody knows, Tayebwa was the chairman of the FDC Youth League. Even the speaker herself. The first time around when she was why are they raising it now when Anita is already a speaker? A speaker is far above a member of SEC. Why are they raising it now when she is challenging them? And when they see that she has a realistic possibility of knocking them out. If she had been a laggard, somebody who they don't expect to win, I don't think they would have raised that. No. I don't think they would have raised that. Okay, thank you. So NRM, let's cross over ourselves and we must retrace our journey to get back. It is not just money. I think teaching and imbibing an ideology of NRM of clean leadership collapsed long ago. And that's why you can see in our competition, people don't ask these people who are running around for NRM members of parliament. Ask them if they have read the manifesto of NRM of 2021, so that they should now be talking to the delegates about what NRM has done and what it hasn't done and why. So they think that the shortcut, I urge Semuju, by spending more money. Yeah. Just, I'm going to add you an extra minute because of that, what you've raised. The level of litter, the people who wish to fight straight away to solve issues, those are some of the things that keep coming up. There are things that need to be addressed. Yes, we need to address, but you cannot address in that huge crowd. That number is close to 30,000 people. 30,000 people. You cannot address it in NEC of NRM. NEC of NRM is close to 1,000.
Yes.
1,000 people. What can you discuss with 1,000 people in a day's meeting?
Yeah.
And therefore, NRM needs to break maybe into committees. You can even see Parliament. Even with the committees of Parliament now, we have like 50 people, 40.
But they never came.
Yeah, and then you see, the debate in the committee is not deep. How can it be deep in NRM NEC?
Yeah.
Which has 1,000 people.
Okay.
And you come at 10, you leave at 4. So that NEC, in my view, need to be broken into subcommittees. Probably you give them subject matters so
And
that
then
they discuss in detail,
retreat. Okay.
make recommendations, which in 3 years we can begin to make reforms of the party. Seriously, NRM must downsize its structure.
Thank you.
To be
Honorable Semujo, what do you take from the delegates conference, NRM delegates conference? And I know as a sitting MP, I know you'll keep away from Kadaga AAA.
Why should I? Because that was the highlight. In fact, if they didn't quarrel,
Yeah.
maybe these suckers would have gone unnoticed.
Yeah.
But their quarrel is what spiced the meetings.
Did Kadaga have a point? Or she was in a sinking ship?
Kadaga had a point, but I don't think she was addressing Museveni. I think she was addressing the public. That's why even after Kololo, she went to host another meeting in our area and continued to addressing the public. Unfortunately for her, people who have disagreed with Museveni, many of them have been courageous. They have disagreed and left. But for her, she wants to disagree and stay. So she looks a sucker as herself. I mean, you can't criticize these things and then you want to be part of them. No, I'm not inciting her. I'm just sympathetic. Because when the Vesiges, the Muntu, the Kategaya, the Mushegas, that doesn't make them right, because the issues they raised are still standing, and I only sympathize with them. But for me, Oscar, the issue of the money in NRM, let me deal with the issue of the money, is not a new thing.
In fact, you have a Bashemwe here on X, Twitter. Says the NRM all guards lamenting about money in elections are simply in denial. They've only been outplayed at the very game they created. They established the culture, now they must live with its tune.
I am not sure of the year. Ofono Pondo, who has been there longer, can help me. The meeting of the NRM conference, when Ndaula Kawes was the Treasurer General, he had to be rescued by the military police. He went to the hotel where the NRM Youth League meeting on Entebbe Road was taking place, and the younger people told him either money or no meeting. In fact, he was held hostage for hours until they sent the military police to rescue him. One time I told you here of a story. I was a journalist, and I was supposed to go and cover an NRM meeting in Mitiana. That must have been around 98, 2000.
Movement meeting.
They were NRM. That's why they have a historical members reach. So the Honorable Nusrat Peru, I think, was part of the youth, and they were meeting in Mitiana. Museveni was supposed to go and open. He said he will send Saleh. Along the way, he said, no, I am sending Chigongo. The young people said, Chigongo must not cross here. We want Saleh. They didn't want Saleh because he was higher, but they wanted Saleh because they knew
Oh, he was younger.
Money.
he was younger.
Because he's money bags.
They knew that at least when you have Saleh, many of your problems will be. So this party and the NRM has been built around money first, money and violence.
Yeah.
I said on TV, I know when Kadaga was complaining, Museveni gave Kadaga 800 million. He also told her you can access a police or military chopper to go and campaign.
When?
I don't, in these elections, these particular ones, I don't know how much he gave Anita Among. But Museveni was giving all the candidates.
Did the speaker need to be given any?
Sometimes you authorize access, sometimes you give physical money.
Okay.
So I don't know what he did, or he did both. Sometimes he does both. So even the people who are in Kororo, I saw full figure. Senarium now has the transition has happened, and I want to thank Dombo. This is a very good transition from Mushega to full figure. That's the new crop of NRM leadership. From Amanya Mushega to full figure. So, and you are happy that is the transition, Dombo, you wanted when you were in Pafo. But for me, full figure was on camera as one of the delegates in Koro. And she said, we want money. It is money. Money. So all the NRM people who are being attracted now, majority, I think more than 90%, often you can quarrel, you're going to be the only one, are joining NRM because there is access to public resources. Because you're talking about money being given by candidates. They're not talking about money that has funded their entire processes. I told you just to do a register, Museveni gave them 42 billion. These fellows must have spent, by the time they go through their process and national elections, they will have spent more than 2 trillion shilling formally.
Doing what?
Everything that you are doing. This meeting is in Kololo, you brought people 30,000. Each was being given 1.6 before you go to the money that the candidates were distributing. What business that the NRM do to get the money? Because in the past, you remember at the beginning there was Danze, and at that time Museveni wanted the NRM to do business either they don't use public resources. That business went away. All of you, when you make a budget, you go and appear before Museveni and present. I remember some time back when he was throwing away NRM workers at the district level. At that time, I think he must have given Kasuri about 20 billion, and he said, I no longer want to employ these people. Even after the 2006 elections, I think, the very first SEC meeting Museveni had, at that time he said he needed 11 billion to run the NRM branches, and he said, why don't we pack them, then resurrect these branches towards the election. Of course, the rest of the members refused. So before you go to the candidates who are distributing money, please be kind to the taxpayers whose money you are using in NRM process. And Dombo, you know it. The money you are being paid as a salary and the vehicles you are driving, it's not money from NRM. It is money that Museveni picks and he gives you. Now, these Kadagas who are complaining, they are not complaining because the money is bad. They are complaining that money has been deployed against them. If it was being deployed against another person, they wouldn't be making the noise that they are making. These Mukulas, why is Mukula, and why should Mukula die, and why does he want to die to be a second member? Is that a job? What decisions do they make? No decisions. Even when they attempted to sit here at Musa Kotaron, Museveni told them who has authorized you to sit. Now from today onwards, meetings of SECA will sit in the State House and Entebbe. So this is a Museveni thing. All these others are fighting not to join SEC, but they are fighting to join a forum where you can easily access Museveni. Yeah. Because do you think Basaja Balaba wants to go there and he's paying to go there and contribute ideas?
Did he win?
But
he won?
He was going to win,
so
but they stopped because he had ferried delegates to Nairobi and Dar es Salaam.
So for him,
once you build a party around money, once you build a party around violence, many people are joining you are seeking to benefit from the two ideologies, pillars of NRM, money and violence. In fact, you need to change your symbol now to money and gun. So you have a gun and money as the NRM symbol. Because, look, the younger people are kicking each other, throwing chairs in air. It is not because they are fighting because they want to go and make a contribution. That's why, because you see, look at the people who are exiting SEC and those who are entering. Are the ones entering the ones who are going to scrutinize the policy, scrutinize the direction? Museveni likes ideology. Each meeting he will spend 2 hours teaching people ideology. Look, these fellows who left Museveni, the Mushega, Njuba, Besigye, Muntu Kazora, etc., their complaint was that we had abandoned the reason for which we went to fight in Ruwero. I am not sure any of those who have become SEC members even remember why Museveni went to fight in Ruwero. is just fighting for my space on table, either to access, because look, Oscar Museveni himself said that people are paying 30 million to those who are near Museveni to draw his attention to their letters. So for every letter that Museveni accesses, you pay 30 million.
When I went to Kapchorwa in this consultation, I found one of the two people who were contending for entrepreneurship. One had gone there on a Tuesday. They have the 5 delegates and had given 1 million to each delegate. The day I arrived,
5 million.
Yes, the day I arrived in the afternoon. Another one had come in the morning. When he was told his colleague had given 1 million, he topped with 200, so he gave 1.2. Now I came back and found him at Emin Pasha Hotel. Then I asked him, "You are giving 1.2 million. How do you intend to recover this money?"
Yeah.
In a SEC that has no salary, even if it has a salary, it doesn't take
about 10 million.
About 10 million. He told me, if I become the chairman of NRM Entrepreneurs League, I will be closer to the president. You see, after the meetings, the president gives a group photo, and this guy has told me. You can imagine somebody telling me, he says, "I will be a go between the people who come to seek investment, these Chinese and Arabs." This is what the fellow told me. That's how he intends to.
So he had a goal
to recoup.
So we should finish off. And
Oscar, something small on what O has said. One of the candidates for the Entrepreneurs League said he was willing to spend 10 billion. Remember, these are just 780 delegates. He was willing to spend 10 billion on 780 delegates because government owes him, I think, around 400 billion. And he has failed to get that money. So he thinks going to SEC is going to give him access to the president so he can be able to demand for his money.
Inside information. Final sentence.
So you see the...
Yeah.
No.
Go on.
Because Museveni has turned the State House into a deal-making center, something he accused the Vinais of. All the dealers want to be part of this business.
Yeah. So
because
we're
look,
going to stop for a break.
Even when he's bribing, but I remember when he was giving MPs 200 million for removal of age limit, SEC members complained that they also do work. At that time, he gave each 100 million and a new brand vehicle. Those who didn't have jobs, he had to fix them. So people know, and they are not stupid, that when you go to NEC,
you can get something.
You've got to make no contribution. You're only giving a company to Museveni and then presenting personal problems.
AI generator, I can tell you.
So
you can't be. No.
So first of all, Oscar, these people should first allow me also speak. So I didn't want to involve myself in the NRM elections, especially like SEC. Who cares? Why should we care as Ugandans that whether OO is a member of SEC or Dombo or Abigaba?
You're saying it's their internal matters.
Yeah, but then the Kadaga and Among tiff happened, and I was thinking about many things about Kadaga. So Kadaga has always been like that. She will never accept to lose. And previously, she was very strong. I think she failed to realize that she no longer has that strength, both physically, politically, and financially. In 2011, there's no time when Museveni has ever chosen Kadaga, because he does that. He always has a favorite in the race. The first... Now let me even talk about. But
financially, where has it gone? She's earning 2 pensions, salary of prime minister.
No, but
and
when you come from controlling a 600 billion budget, yeah. Now I'm saying 600 when she was there. You cannot be comfortable with the pension. It can't be the same, because Kadaga knows the game of patronage like her boss, Museveni. The reason she's always threatening about Busoga is because she knows half of Busoga owes her something. Half of the people there, she has taken people to school, she has given them jobs, she has all the, and this is from 89 when she came into. So, for example, the race of 2011 speakership, they wanted Sekandi to come back. He came back, they were seated there, but Kadaga had mobilized very well. Busoga, women, opposition, and then they saw they cannot do anything against her. And Sekandi didn't want to be humiliated. In 2015, 2016.
It was not on the mic. Sekandi had to be humiliated or blackmailed.
in 2016. Yeah. Because she actually does that. There's no card Kadaga will not play. She will play the Eastern card, she will play the women card. Now, this time, those two cards were not available to her in SEC. She was against a fellow woman, fellow from Eastern Uganda. I've seen her play them on the speakership race. 2016, they want to bring Olanya because Kadaga had given President Museveni a hard time in the 9th Parliament where Domba was a commissioner, and Domba and Kadaga are very close. I know that. So, sorry. So now, of course, when money goes, you are not going to have any friends anymore. In politics, it's always. Do you know that OO right now is very close to Anita Among? I want you to check before. Because of the money. Yeah, exactly. So it's a money thing. Now,
but to be fair,
now he defends her.
Was never. I asked him. He was never friendly with Kadaga.
Also
with Among.
In fact, let me finish.
Go on.
But now they are close friends. Ofono Pond.
I don't like Parliament. I don't like what the people there.
I'm going to finish my story. So now defends Among. You say anything about Among right now and see. But let me go back to the let me go back to the point I was making. So 2016 they want to bring Olanya because Museveni is really tired of the back and forth with Kadaga. Now Kadaga plays the cards. Why can't they let me finish my 2 terms like second? Is it because I am a woman? Is it because she has already mobilized everyone, the women to look at it as the women thing, the Basoga to look at it as they are alienating Basoga. So, so now, even them, Museveni thinks I'm not going to handle this one, allows her. What was shocking is that in 2021, she wants to come back. Now I don't know which argument, because in 2016 it was that, let me finish my 2 terms like my predecessor did. And I tell her, you did 2 terms. There's a meeting in State House of SEC, and she comes out and says, I am still going to run. She runs, she's defeated. Because this time...
information. This time, she had just presided over the removal of age limit.
Age limit. She thought she's
done something for you. Let me also
in fact, exactly. In fact, she says that openly somewhere. So she goes. She's defeated. First of all, she has this. She can't accept defeat. When she's defeated, she storms out of Kololo before it ends, runs away. Now Museveni has a problem with thinking this woman might die, it will be on my hands, or she might go and mobilize Busoga against me. That fear was there. I'm sure now it is not there because he thinks the woman is out and, So she runs away. Museveni looks for Kadaga, calls, Kadaga refuses to pick. But Museveni is worried. I need to bring this person in. That time, Kadaga's closest friend was the late Cecily Ogwal. They asked Cecily Ogwal to bring her. And this is how they bring her as Deputy Prime Minister. And so I was giving you this history about Kadaga, that it has always been like that. So when it comes...
Hold on just 1 minute. You're a lawyer, so it is not Lugambo. We're assuming that you know what you're
I am a journalist also, Okay. So now...
So, Oscar, what are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
If it is Lugambo and...
But I am a journalist. I covered the
reminded
entire...
her that she's a lawyer, so...
I covered the entire 9th Parliament. That's why Dombo, who was a commissioner, a very big man in the 9th Parliament, is not disputing what I'm saying. So anyway...
My time
so you want to say you are not close to Kadak? So anyway, when I saw her this time, I was shocked and thinking, when do these people ever think that now I am no longer that powerful, that person? You physically, even physically, people are. So I am thinking about it, and yeah, it just brought back what I have followed all this while. But going back to the generally, not now Kadaga or her nemesis, the NRM elections have always been like that. Violence, vote rigging. The people that are complaining about money, I heard someone say everyone was decrying money. It was Abigaba here. Is because other people had more money than them. Now you have a monk who controls a 1 trillion budget, controls it to the extent that the budget lines, committees don't have money. They haven't had money because she's taken it into elections. And even that, I want anyone to take me to court over that. You saw Senyon saying, we wrote about the budget of the leader of opposition at Agora, and saying it is just on paper. I never see it. So this is someone you're dealing with. Now, the others will cry foul because they cannot afford to. They can't afford that money. In 2010 elections, the primaries, especially the most interesting ones, were between Amama and Otafire. They were running with people running away with ballot boxes and whatever, and Amama was the Secretary General. Actually, after that, they removed voting for Secretary General. You had people like Mushemeza was the EC chair of the NRM then. You had people being like him and someone else who was the commissioner in Kampala called Israel something, being locked away, they are being captured. 2015, after Tango Doi had come, it was the same. Now for Tango Doi, it became worse than Mushemeza's time. So these are issues that we decry as Ugandans in general elections. People like the NRM people that are crying now have never seen that as a problem. Voter bribery, it's a crime in our electoral laws. People have proposed amendments to the law and said, why should we disqualify someone? I mean, annul an election, let's say Dombo against Yusuf, and it is found out that Dombo is
you can use Kawempe North
is guilty of voter bribery. Why should Dombo be allowed to participate in a re-election? Because you were, they are not deterrent enough. You were guilty of a crime. So we raise these issues all the time, but also talking about how much money in politics, the impact it has on leadership, on governance. Because if you are going to vote for money, that means you are not going to have anyone who will bring ideas, but also someone who is willing to spend 10 billion that they were talking about in an election. They are going in to do what? To steal. So you will not have any service delivery because people are going in to recoup what they put in. We have raised these issues. There was a constitutional amendment bill, I think twice. First in after the Citizens Compact.
2016, 15.
Exactly. Then you had a bill that was being brought by Wilfred Nwagaba, a private member's bill, that was saying let's resolve these issues: electoral malpractice, election violence. Now, when it happens to them, for me, I'm happy. Even if they kill each other, for me, I am happy. If they don't, they are seeing that money has edged people out because. Ofono Pondo said it and said using money to edge out someone. I thought you guys are okay with that. Like it's, all is fair in love and war. Yes. I thought you were okay with it.
Thank you, Agatha. Yeah. I should tell you, I don't know if it was last week, Ofono Pondo was here agitated and restless, and Semuju was saying yes. Now you know the feeling.
He was staring lost in the face. He abandoned the show. I invited him for a book launch on Wednesday, refused to come.
I have been speaking straight about the Malays in NRM. I said,
you did.
Like in this particular case, I said, a minister I was running with, do you know he booked 354 rooms in Mukono to hide the delegates. We have only 371. So he had left for me on the seats. But then I went to campaign.
Welcome to
yes, to beat that mischief, and I beat that mischief. Because
So
Only like one.
Indeed.
yeah, so
the next step
I'm
is
saying
to see.
those are things we should do.
The next
not
step to
tolerate.
see is how you are going to participate in dismantling that kind of conduct.
No, I think
And
we can.
Levi Eyaru is saying to Abigaba here, Oscar, for the record, Captain Mukula wasn't defeated in SEC. He withdrew from the race, citing bribery of the delegates by Mr. Echodu.
No, but you
Duncan Abigaba is misleading
But you
the
see,
country.
the
And other
defeat-
people
the
are
defeat- defeat-
responding to Levi Eyaru.
Why all these people who withdrew, why were they withdrawing a minute when they have called the lining up?
Yeah.
All of them withdrew when the names the vote had been called, lining up behind.
Not
the
a week
candidates.
before.
Not a week before.
Because they didn't want to. Oscar.
Yes.
Oscar, I mean, listening to the convention at this table.
Yes, I was also going to tell Agatha, is an idiot who said, Enid, says, I heard from certain sources that we don't have a visa-free entry with SA South Africa because we are required to commit to pay the return of deportees. And that's what we've not committed. If it's true, you could verify.
Oscar, one of the things that strikes me powerfully is how we have, as a country, agreed to a fakery. Like we have agreed to a circus performance to the disadvantage of the country. We pretend that we live under democracy. So we pretend that, people in the NRM party actually have a political party, actually have a central executive committee. It's a fakery we have agreed to, and we gladly participate in it, and we discuss it on radio laughingly. It's a circus we've signed up to, and we seem to love it. All of us at this table actually agree that this SEC is useless. The decisions that are taken, I'll make my point, I'll clarify. The decisions that are taken, because SEC is supposed to be the top organ of the national resistance movement, the core decision-making organ of the national resistance movement. We know Salim Said doesn't have to subject to this circus in Kololo. He doesn't. But he's a core decision maker. There's a man that you hosted here one time called Odrek Rawogo. He's a core decision maker. He can't subject himself to this circus. Folks such as Mhoska Nirugaba and many others I don't know who are core decision makers in whatever they say stands. They're not in this circus. As all of us have agreed that, the people who actually became successful as new SEC executive committee members, their intentions are far away from the core mandate of SEC. They are looking for access to the man who has become the single most lucrative project in the country. Yep. So we have agreed to a fakery, and we gladly discuss it. We laugh about it like we're a very serious country. No wonder they had to deny you a visa, because you belong to a very serious country that is very happy to engage in a fakery. No, he belongs to a country where we have agreed to a fakery.
And technically they didn't deny me the visa. They just held the passport, which one would argue is the same thing.
So that's my first point I want to make. That it's very it kills me inside that we sit here, we watch people in Kololo wasting government.
What do you want
money.
us to do?
I mean, first I want to give you the diagnosis. The pain that I go through.
They'll beat you.
Mobilize the public.
Oscar, the pain I go through. That we signed up to a circus and we find it entertaining, and it's national conversation. The second point I want to make is this: I was educating Emmanuel Dombo somewhere else that if NRM was this man here,
it's the one you are educating.
I was telling him that if they were a serious party, the thing called SEC is created out of revolution, and the others who join it are simply invited. You don't go through an electoral process. Wherever there are, exemplars of a central executive committee, they're not subject to electoral process because you have ideas to protect. You have discipline to ensure that sustains this time. You don't go through a thing called a democratic election, right? And the other thing I was trying to save this professional from is to be confident that you don't have to appear democratic all the time. Because to ensure discipline in your institution, there are things that you can't subject to a vote, such as the way you protect Tom Butime, Haji Moses Chigongo, the way you protect Museveni's position. Be happy with that and have the entirety of SEC, if they're serious people, not voted. In fact, the best example are the names that I mentioned, the Salehs, the Arawogos. Those are actually core decision makers. They don't go to a vote. The problem, you don't recognize them. So, but we signed up to this circus. You see, so, I mean, to be confident that you can actually have discipline without democracy. In fact, in Europe, my friend Zizek made this argument, which I found powerful. If you democratized Europe more, you end up with anarchy. And things have to be closed at some degree. You go to Chama Cha Mapinduzi here, the core of NEC, they're not elected. They are selected. They are vetted. When you go to the Communist Party in China, the core is not elected. When you go to Iran, the Khamenei, there's no electoral process. So if you were serious, you have to take pride in closing some of the units of the movement. These are not subject to electoral processes. You see, an old man here with an ideologue.
You make. First, the reason there was an opening was to throw out the contemporaries who have gezi. And then have these ones who, they are everything. It's because of you.
Yes. That's a core point, and I think I'll come to that. The point I'm making is that this has been vulgarized. You find a man like Ofonopon, who is a serious person, in terms of not to the country, but to the party. He's a very serious person to the party.
Not to the country.
Why do you subject this man to a vote if you're serious as a party? This man carries the entirety of NRM ideologies. He sounds like Museveni in many cases. Why do you subject him to a vote? You see, so that should be, take pride in those things. The other point, I think, coming to Samji's point, is the confusion that Seven has created in the party, which is productive. He enjoys this confusion. You know, on the one hand, it masquerades as a movement, and then on the other, it masquerades as a democratic unit.
I want to tell you, the UK has the Conservative Party has a 1922 committee made up of 18 people. But for them, they also are elected at the start of a parliamentary session, and they elect their chairman as well. And that's the powerful.
I don't know if the Conservative Party is a serious party. That should you leave that to the Britons. But I was talking about the confusion that Museveni enjoys. You know, on the one hand, it's a movement. So Chigongo, himself, Tom Butime, there is no vote. Those are ideologues of the party. You can't subject them to a vote.
Tom Butime, no vote for him?
I think so.
In fact,
except he was unopposed.
In fact,
for historical.
In fact, if some of those members were subject to a vote and they lost, because I'm sure Museveni can be both of that chairmanship. If you subject himself to a vote, NRM will be gone, because Museveni is NRM and NRM is Yoweri Museveni. And it's not a bad thing necessarily, because this is the icon of the party. But the confusion is productive for Yoweri Museveni. That if he wants to get rid of you, he doesn't have to kick you in the butt. He subjects you to a process that he knows you will lose. And in that case, he appears democratic. If he wants to retain a position, then he will say, Alhaji Moses Chigongo, there is no vote. You can't subject him to a vote, because he wants to retain that. So that confusion is productive. We see it as an anomaly that the Kadagas and the others have tried to exploit it. But for the man himself, it is very productive. This is why when you talk about a transition, and I think this will be the last point I make. You know, Oscar, when a snake loses its skin and takes on new skin, it remains a snake. It hasn't changed. So just shed off old skin and take on new skin. That's what you see in the scenario. The snake has remained a snake. It took off the old skin and now has recruited new workers. They're not necessarily workers, but being noisemakers who will be, cutting these deals. But if we talk about a transition in the national resistance movement, the transition will often start at the top. You can't transit by just, a snake doesn't become anything else by shedding off old skin.
Okay.
That is what happened. Before we get Museveni and the Chigongos out of this thing called NRM, there'll be no transition. But the problem is that most of the things we have in this country masquerading as political parties are not actually political parties. They're supposed to be movements. They're not, including PFF. They're not. It can't survive. You see these ideologues of PFF. If you subject them to a vote and they lost, where will PFF stay? If you don't have some lost as the SESEC member of PFF, I think Kizza Besigye is the chairman, Kizza Besigye is not chairman. You think about those core ideologues. If you subject them to a vote and they lost their position as SEC members, there will be no party.
Yeah.
Think about our friends at Capitalgang. Let me finish this point, Oscar. Our friends at Capitalgang. If the core, Bobby Wine, Lewis Ruwongoya, if all those were subject to a vote and they lost the leadership of NUP, there will be no NUP. The point
Mpuga went, start his own party.
I don't know if it was core, but the point I'm making is this: that at the top, these political parties, so-called, should take pride in not subjecting themselves to a vote. But we have bullied them so much. You have Agatha here who bullied them so much. Ask them to be democratic.
Thank you.
You'll have pundits. You have folks like Dombo here. They'll be bullying their leadership so they appear democratic.
Let me go to Duncan.
But it is a circus.
Yeah. Duncan Avigava, the Levi Eyaro now is attacking you because of supporting Mr. Echodo official.
They have been supporting the opposed candidates.
Yes. So if you know Levi Eyaro is always right. He hasn't yet posted against Agatha Twaire because he's still sorting out the disagreement in NRM. You, as one of the young people in NRM, this disconnect that's coming up, this dislike for each other, disrespect. People are happy to box each other any minute. How are you going to work on the unity? I saw that former Speaker Rebecca Kadaga has written a letter thanking her voters, and in the last paragraph, 2 lines saying she congratulates all the winners. Is that a good way to go? Will you find that unity, or you are going to continue in the general elections with the disunity?
Yes, I'm happy that Right Honorable Kadaga has stood on a higher moral ground and abandoned her language she used on Saturday at Entebbe when she was a bit belligerent towards the party chairman and the members of the National Executive Council. She has toned down. It's good. I've read her. I've read her statement thanking everybody, and saying the party should unite and move forward. That's the posture we expect from everybody. Yes, elections have ended. Some people have gone to.
But Walium says there was no election in Kololo.
that is according to his own interpretation. If he had won, if he had not been outspent and he had won, he would have called it an election. He made his own mistakes, which he honorable to be Ofonopono talked about earlier. For example, Bariomus went to campaign in Bushenyi with the Honorable Lydia Wanyoto and Honorable Chiwanda. In Bushenyi, there was a very powerful candidate for Women's League. So how do you sell Wanyoto in Bushenyi where Adrian Kobsinje was very strong? Those are some of the mistakes that cost him that seat. So he needs to really sit this one out. So some members have appealed to have filed their complaints to the tribunal that handled the party primaries complaints and has done a very good job. Most of the people, after receiving the results, the rulings of the tribunal, have decided to fold and return back into the NRM. We've not heard about so many people declaring to run as independents, except Honorable Sechkubo. So the tribunal has, and Honorable Tinka Simire. So the tribunal has done a very good job. It has been impartial, I think. So some of the SEC members have, of course, filed their petitions there. I know Moses Kalangwa, who was running for Central Region, Vice Chairman. I know the lady who was running for the chairperson of the NRM Youth League, Brenda Chichoncho. She has also filed a petition there.
When is Museveni filing a petition?
He has no complaint. So we shall let the tribunal do its work. But I think Honorable Dombo also talk about this. The chairman is going to constitute a reconciliation committee led by eminent leaders of the party. I think people like Honorable Uganda and others. No, Kadaga was an actor in the election, so she should be among those who are going to be consulted on how to calm down and move forward. So
General Muhezi. These are the eminent leaders.
No, I don't know, but I don't think the reconciliatory committee is going to have
even when they have lost election, like the climb down Right Honorable Kadaga has done, she can mediate.
Has she?
She can mediate and reconcile people in other parts of the country, and that's usually what happens.
Yes.
One sentence. We go for a break.
Yeah, one sentence is what we expect is fairness in the tribunal, fairness during the work of the reconciliation committee, and fairness in the remaining elections, particularly the election of the youth, where the prayers are very, very high. The youth executive committee and youth members of parliament.
We stop for a break. Welcome back from the break. I think at some point we may invite South Africa here, because people are, even Crispy Kaheru still going on about South Africa. Last December, I had a taste of a bureaucratic cocktail. At some point I was half convinced they wanted me to deposit a bank guarantee, sign over my ancestral land title, and so much more. So, Emmanuel Dombo, listening around the table, what must you improve in elections? And the point OO puts to you and all others, there's been a higher level of impunity in the NRM elections, and that's what Agatha says, they are always like that. But now you're going to a general election. Kawempe North tells you the one who won it, what happened? He went to a mosque and, and there are allegations that his opponents did the same, but it will be different because the scrutiny will be greater.
Oscar, first of all about South Africa, when I was in Parliament, we traveled to look at the private farms running prisons, and we visited a number of prisons in South Africa. But one of the things that was very shocking are the number of Ugandans who are detained in South Africa. And I was so surprised that I even got a village event. And the biggest accusation is that most of them go there to do
quack.
No.
They behave like the quack doctors. Is this Sangoma? And one of the things that they sell most is herbs for erectile dysfunction. This is something that was so strange, and if this issue is coming up in the negotiations as guaranteeing that they must deport the Ugandans, I think we must also talk to the Ugandans themselves when should that visa agreement be signed, so that they know that once they have freedom to enter, they also have freedom to come back. Let them visit and come back if they can afford to do it. But since that will be a debate for another day, we shall discuss it. Oscar,
I intend to go there, so if you send me, if you have a need, I will bring for you.
I've listened to my brothers here talk. One of the things we must agree, once we choose democracy or resemblance of democracy as a method of work, we cannot run away from the consequences of democracy. Because in democracy, once people compete, there is going to be a winner and there is going to be a loser. Unfortunately, I've seen many Ugandans in their competition, they only prepare for winning. And this becomes a life and death. In the United States, I went to observe some of the elections. The candidates are even forced to draft 2 speeches. Presidential elections, I think President Trump the other time declined, but you are required even to ring the person who has won you to concede defeat. This is not something that we are practicing here. These are things that we must begin taking on and teaching our people who go to compete that we must compete in a democratic process, but we must also be prepared for the consequences of democracy, because those vagaries of democracy, people will lose, others will celebrate, but we appeal to the winners that they should celebrate with decorum and respect their opponents, knowing that we have a bigger war ahead of us as an election. Many of the things that happened in Kololo are prohibited conduct according to the constitution of the NRM. And unlike previous elections,
even the country,
unlike previous elections, this time the Secretary General called the aspirants, and he read to them the Riot Act to say we are likely to disqualify some of the members. He did not specify the method on how it was going to be done. But when you see the escalation that eventually resulted into the cancellation of the elections for entrepreneurs, it was emanating from the issues which had been discussed in a meeting, which my brother Ofono Pondo attended. And this matter came up in SEC and came up in NEC. And the president guided, he said, yes, people have brought these allegations. But are we fair? He asked actually the lawyer. He said, can the chairman disqualify somebody without a due process? And he said, can't we be taken to court as a party? Because you have alleged. Fine, let us go and do an investigation. And he directed during the NEC meeting. He said, let us capture it as one of the resolutions. Actually, the national chairman got so offended and surprised when members of NEC, some of them very senior people, would go on the microphone and say, after all those being bribed above 18. So he said, because you're above 18, you must get involved in such malpractices and we leave it. The national chairman objected and he said, this is wrong. And he directed that let this be captured as a resolution.
If you allow.
No, let him finish it. Just make
if you listen to the resolutions that came from the National Executive Council to the Delegates Conference, that was one of the issues to condemn corruption, but also to institute an investigation about what has happened with the allegations, especially those that had been made formal through writing and complaint.
Okay.
The other issue which came up,
finally,
the other issue which came up, which is very interesting, some of these aspirants conspired with some of our district officials because during accreditation, we made the district leaders, the admins, the chairman, and the director of finance and the secretary for finance to come and receive the accreditation cards and the facilitation.
1.6.
But we got so surprised that in many districts, these accreditation cards, instead of being given to the delegates, they were given to the aspirants. They were given to the aspirants.
And the aspirants were giving them out.
And the aspirants were calling that if you want to pick especially for entrepreneurs, if you want to pick this, come to the such and such. One of the hotels was in Entebbe. And people came to complain to the Secretary General. They say, we are delegates, we have come here for accreditation, but somebody is calling us from Entebbe that they have accreditation cards. That is a process also which will call the Secretary General to investigate his staff to find out how was the issue abused to the level that such a thing should happen. Finally, I want to tell Honorable Semujunganda that NRM receives about 8 billion every quarter. And this money has enabled us, it pays my salary, and you are very true that the salary which I'm paid, this money comes from government, this taxpayers' money. So 8 billion, 8 billion, this is not a pretense, this is reality.
In addition,
actually, right now, Nobati Mao has prevented the issuance of this money and is being a problem.
So what are
now,
you
if we
now?
had not been saving progressively for the conference, this should have been a problem. And this is how
you also
NRM has
raised
been
money
surviving.
from candidates.
In your own net.
No, I'm telling you. This I'm telling you.
The Honorable Semuju, let him finish. Last sentence, Honorable Dombo.
The last sentence is that the president directed a team of eminent leaders in the national resistance movement to come up with a draft.
Abigawa said.
No. There are two committees, the draft reforms.
Okay.
This team is headed by Honorable Uganda, and they have been looking at the structures of parties internally and those friendly parties to find out what we can borrow from there, what my brother here has been talking about. Downsizing either some of the structures and also copying the good practices from other parties. When this committee concludes on what it's doing and becomes a public document, we shall come here perhaps and we discuss it. But for the reconciliation, one, I want to applaud my sister, Right Honorable Kadaga, for providing leadership, because that statement that she gave, that is providing leadership, and having been a member of the Central Executive Committee for that long, that is being a very good example. Okay. I know my brother Chagulanyi tried to incite her by saying that she wants to invite, but Chagulanyi, who couldn't keep Mpuga, how could she sustain Right Honorable Kadaga if she goes there?
Yeah.
So the reconciliation committee.
Yeah.
The committee which has been set up.
Thank you.
It has been named. The committee has been named. The names are going to be made public. I think you within the next weeks. The names of people who are going to go around the constituencies, appealing to those who have been either offended.
Thank you.
The tribunal is legal,
Honorable,
but NRM is political.
Yes. You won this one.
Yes.
Now you're going to general election.
Yes.
You've seen you are competing against money people. How will you tackle the general election? How will you promote ideology and so on?
Well, good enough for me. I have huge name recognition in the country and in the NRM. I also have a voice. I have a face. There's no district I've gone to and delegates didn't know me. And also appreciate the work I have done for the NRM, for the government as a spokesperson. So I think there's a soft side to that. I was also an electoral college of about 7 people per district. So it is easy to pinpoint the people you are going to speak to and the message that you speak to them. Because the older persons, MPs, all of them, the current ones, I think they've been let down. You don't hear them on the issues of older persons.
Go on.
Particularly the one I was running against is a minister. But people, yesterday I was asking, Semuju doesn't know him.
Yeah, that's true.
Semuju doesn't know that guy. So I think there's a sense in which old people want their issues raised and raised boldly. And because of this small number of 7, you're able to reach with the message. You're able to defeat the money. And for me, I am encouraging the voters to say, even the general voters, I'm saying, look, if somebody has been in office for 10 years, 5 years, you haven't had him, he is now coming with money. Please eat the money. Eat that money. But vote your conscience, because they will do nothing. They will do nothing. Because after all, the general public has shown us in this NRM primaries, they voted out ministers. They drank their porridge, they ate their meat and the pilau, but they voted otherwise. And those MPs have done nothing. So, for an old person of 60 years and above, what would this person do to you?
Yeah.
So we can, and I'm encouraging Ugandans, we can defeat obscene money. We can defeat obscene money. We should encourage. If we go through 3 cycles, where the so-called rich people, the Karawangwas, I don't know what, they bring money and they lose. I think in the next cycle, people will not put that kind of money.
Agatha, there's a message here on X,
they don't give you the vote.
Twitter, formerly Twitter. Greens Kansime, I was among the delegates at both NEC and delegates conference, but the money and tribe were the major dominants that influenced the outcome, which must be condemned in the strongest terms possible, because they are primitive and backward. And he's already sent you congratulations and commiserations for Lydia. So, what about now in the general elections? What?
But I want to ask you. I see people like Duncan here and all of them that disagree with what happened, the money, but they praise the man that presides over that. So
now answer the question.
No, this is very important.
Yes,
for me.
answer. That's what I'm saying.
So
answer the question.
So So Duncan, you cannot be here and say, oh, this has destroyed NRM. All of you actually, not just Duncan, because for him I saw a post where he's congratulating President Museveni and saying, as if President Museveni does not know about everything you guys are talking about now, about money, about violence, about ethnicity. Now, and it brings me to what you're asking about the general election. I have told you earlier in my submission that everything they are crying, the cakes, everything they are crying about now,
Go on.
the opposition has cried over it for all the years we have had elections. Yeah? So I think since the 1995 Constitution, we have had 6 elections, right? 5 have been challenged in court. And they are always over voter bribery. Presidential elections, I'm talking about presidential elections. You are using the incumbency to spread money around. That's when Museveni will remember to go for PDM, where he's spending, I had 1 billion, that one I just had, I've never verified the figure. 1 billion at every 1 million project he's going to.
You might be underestimating it.
Yeah, yes. So these have been issues here in general elections before, because the very people that are using money and violence and whatever are the ones that are organizing general elections. And that's why I am asking if you have never seen it as a problem, because for them it has always been all is fair in love and war. The end justifies the means. I've heard them say, do not expect President Museveni to hand you over, to hand over the seat to you or the leadership. But yet now, we have people like Dombo talking about those are the consequences of democracy. But we also have laws. We have laws that stipulate what should be done. We have the Constitution, we have the Electoral Commission Act, we have the Parliamentary Elections Act, and all these laws, like I was saying earlier, provide the rules. We have had the Supreme Court sit and make recommendations, very thorough recommendations. Can we have fair media coverage for all candidates? Can we remove the army? Can we remove the army from the elections? But you know what? The other day, the army was in Parliament asking for money for elections. Like, what role does a national army? But I'm telling you that exactly. I'm telling you that we have the highest.
Agatha, only your microphone.
We have the highest court of the land saying the army should not be in elections, and this is coming out of the laws we have. So if you guys do not want those laws to apply in a general election, or these rules or these practices, why are you now quarreling that they have failed to apply in your own election? So what happened the other day in Kololo, which is what happened in their primaries? The NRM parliamentary primaries had how many petitions? 380?
400.
Exactly. So, you know.
Okay.
That's what we are saying. That it's a replica. It's what happens in the general election always. And I have counted that for me, ever since I started paying attention to the politics of this country as a journalist, from 2010, there was an election that was sham, that had violence, that had money, that had people being surrounded to be lynched, up to now.
Yusuf Serunku.
There's something I normally talk about. I wrote about it about 3 years ago, maybe
just
more.
Just lift your microphone a little bit.
Maybe more. I'm going to carry on with the fakery if I agreed to, but I want to talk about the modern autocrat, the autocrat of our time. The autocrat of our time does the same things as Idi Amin, as Bokassa, as Mobutu Seko, but the autocrat of our time organizes elections. He took lessons from the men who came before them and realized that you don't have to say govern through without a constitution. You can amend it. It's a piece of paper. You can amend it. You don't have to say you govern through decree. You need to have a parliament. So you have an oversized and noisy parliament, but which is useless. where actually people in the opposition also debate and started a debate. My friend Yasumji is one of the best debaters we've had in this country, and he has done a wonderful job. But he's talking to deaf people because the decisions are not decided in parliament. So the modern autocrat has a seemingly vibrant media, but it can't do much. If needs be, they will be beaten, bones will be broken, and skulls will be broken, as they have always done. So what happened in Kololo is one of the ways through which a modern autocrat reproduces himself. He organizes meaningless, noisy, expensive things such as fake elections. And we go through this thing. He actually organizes national elections, noisy, expensive, violent, but they're meaningless. Because the victory is not about the people who go to... The victory is decided by the one who counts, not the one who votes. This is why Museveni, with his life, protects the position of chairman of the Electoral Commission. It has to be him to put that person in power. So that's the nature of the modern autocrat. So what you did, Honorable Dombo, in SEC, actually is democratic. That's what democracy should be. Dirty, messy, financially, extortionist. But that's the nature of a modern autocrat. Okay. That's how Museveni... The one point I want to make, Oscar, because, it seems to me that I'm the only nationalist around this table. It seems to me I'm the only one who's not buying into the circus. Because I need to stress a point, Oscar. Because, you see, we laugh about these people buying positions to access Yoweri Museveni. But the economic cost of this circus to the Wananchi is that the country is on sale.
The election.
The country is on sale. Because you see, the Chinese, the Indians, who want these SEC agents to take them to Yoweri Museveni, are buying the country. They are negotiating Lake Victoria. They're negotiating deals in coffee. They're negotiating deals in our oil. They're negotiating deals in our natural reserves. The country is on sale. So when you see these dealers, so the dealers are negotiating their acts so that they can say, you Indian, me I have the EU of the president. What do you want? You want a piece of Lake Victoria? Me, I will take it to the man. I'm a member of SEC. So the financial cost, I need like a full day.
So for us in education, we should sponsor for
because we're laughing about the things. Because Oscar.
There's no problem.
Without
Oscar, I need to finish this point.
Let him finish because we are out of time.
Oscar, the country is on sale and we are laughing about because these men, these dealers.
We are not laughing, Yusuf. We are doing what we can. And you yourself, you've done what you can.
It pains me so much.
Sarcastic books because that's the tool you have. Honorable Semujo, he has written.
By the way, the best way to reach a public is producing pamphlets. Books for university academics. If you want to reach a public, you produce a pamphlet. So please don't denigrate pamphlets. They're the best access to the public.
Honorable Semujo, by the way, Moses Pierhanga informed you that even Saudi Arabia gets money. He was supporting 12 billion annually from pilgrim spending on accommodation, transportation, and all. And you replied that Africans have lost 70 million.
It's 19 billion.
Not even 12.
Yeah, but it stays there for you. They don't need it.
So general election is coming up. From what you've seen, I've not seen any criminal charges brought against NRM in the primaries. Those who are misbehaved.
The ones who switched resigns are in courts.
The ones who did what?
Who switched resigns. Who gave fraudulent entries for resigns.
Okay, and the ones who brutalized other people, are they in court as well?
I think so. I don't have the data, but at least I know.
The one who killed the people in Zimbabwe is still there.
The ones who fraud.
You see, Oscar, for me, the part the way I agree with Yusuf is that the conversation, we've lost the national conversation. We're now discussing parties and interests. This Emmanuel Dombo, when he formed the PAFO, which he headed, many of them did not leave NRM, but they thought they needed, as Ugandans, to facilitate free and fair processes. And they strongly argued for those processes, argued against the removal and changing of the constitution to benefit individuals. Today now Dombo is running from one station to another, one TV after another, to rationalize the very things he said were wrong. And I was covering him as a journalist. And I have said this many times, he was one of the best MPs, even when he was a commissioner. Agatha talks about Dombo as being close to Kadaga. Their leadership in Parliament was a very strong leadership. And that's why Baryomus ended up in prison. I don't know where Dombo was hiding.
It was in Mtareja.
And
yesterday I met the person who arrested me. And he was telling me his ordeal. This is Luguse. Who was the director?
The one who's also fighting.
Was so we are comparing notes when we sat during Corona.
But how did he get there? He didn't win.
no, he did not win.
No, he didn't win. But
So he's being roughed up like a
he told me he has
Was
all
he
the
elected?
He has all the forensics. I was trying to dissuade him because he was talking
So
that he wanted to run as an
case.
independent. But it's our responsibility as party officials to talk to those, if we can dissuade them, to go ahead and do that.
So the point I wanted to
But it
make,
was
Oscar,
interesting.
We have all of 4 minutes
if
left.
NRM has no appetite to deliver to its own members free and fair elections, you will be stupid to demand that they deliver the same to the rest of the country. Because when the last time I had a conversation with Ofono on another platform, I was saying this is our constitution. Why would you have elections of lining up? I don't think if these ballots, if you printed them from NASA, they will cost you more than 10 million.
We did.
But there is something that Museveni wants. You see, Museveni likes chaos. One time I have told you I had a teacher who was responsible for sports in my primary school. So he got to slash the playground and he says, since all of you are sweating, you have slashed, you all go and play. So he throws the ball for everybody to train. So the whole school is training. 500
With
of
one
you.
ball.
After 1 hour, he says, we'll go back. He's in training, finished. So Museveni is chaotic. I think he was enjoying. That's why he first shielded himself.
Yeah.
He will shield the Chigongo. And then he said, the rest of you can go and play with one ball. Because the standards that you have set as a ruling party, it will be very difficult for you to blame Electoral Commission of Justice Byabakama of delivering fake elections when yours, I don't know.
After Dombo's secretariat.
Yeah, so Dombo has told you here.
Let me allow
And
Abigaba
follow-
1 minute.
Delegates we are picking.
It's the future of
We are
NRM.
picking tags from
Duncan
Chiriandombo.
Abigaba, the future of NRM. What do you recommend?
The future
Before
of
I go into thanking Star Cafe and all.
the future of NRM. I'm
doomed.
glad the OO has joined me in the fight for
Somebody
reforms.
says it's doomed.
He's now supporting downsizing. For example, we think the leadership of the party, 25,000 people that must take decisions while choosing leadership, it's not sustainable and effective. CCP in China leading 1.5 billion people is just 3,000 members. Number two, can we have a more rigorous vetting process so that people who come out of that are really people of integrity with trust and confidence of the membership, like the CCM.
You see, Chadema
The
in Tanzania sets qualifications. For you to be a president, you must be of this academic qualification, you must have served the party, you must not be involved in this. So they set qualification, not vetting.
Thank you, gangsters of the day. Thank you, Fonopondo, and congratulations to you. Yes, thank you, Emmanuel Dombo.
I will not disappoint you.
Yeah, and I will not allow you to disappoint.
Told you to that.
Thank you, Duncan
And I'll be
Abigaba.
exhibiting you.
Thank you, Agatha Tuaire. Thank you, Yusuf Serunkuma. Thank you, Honorable Semuju, Star Cafe, for powering the gang. I had a chat with Dombo here about the samosas. His performance has been superb. I am Oscar Semwe Amsoke, and I shall see you next week.